Hey everybody, it's Moonbo here, and welcome back to another episode of Scrap Mechanics Suggested Creations, episode 31 this time. In this episode, I'm going to be showing you guys these three tanks that I have made, namely, from right to left here. The Leopard II is the farthest on the right, the Panzer T is the one, I believe, actually, no, wait, the Panzer T is the farthest to the left, and the German King Tiger is in the middle. Sorry for the confusion there. Yes, so here, this is the Leopard II, and then this one here in the middle is the German King Tiger, and that one there, this one is the Panzer T. So I'm going to go through each of these tanks and kind of explain to you the build process a little bit, and the idea behind why I do certain things. So let's start off with this one here, the Leopard II. The Leopard II tank was built mainly in a stream, actually, and I'll be putting a link in the description if you want to see that stream. I call them Moonbo Live, and so you can hang out with the past Moonbo and see the build process of this tank, and kind of see exactly the whole process. So, as you can see though, it's relatively simple. I have a seat on the top here, and a seat right here inside the turret. Now, I don't have an entrance in this one. Like, sometimes I'll put, like, a door, like, I think these ones have doors on them, but this one didn't. It was a really compact build. I tried to keep it as low as possible, so I will start with the turret, actually, before we go and drive around in this one. So, on the button scheme here, you can see there's two buttons. So, the number one key is actually a locking mechanism right here. So, if I zoom in right here, you'll see when you press it, it goes right in between those ventilation grates, which is actually pretty convenient, because as you can see, I can try and turn it, and all you get is a little bit of a wiggle. So we will bring that locking mechanism up, and now, as you can see, we can turn all the way left and right. So it's on a motor, so I'm pressing S and W to get the full rotation. So you get a much better, I find it's just the smoothest way to turn. You do have to kind of wire it up a certain way, but... And number two key there will raise the barrel up, so you get that awesome kind of shooting angle. I'm gonna put that barrel back down, and as you can see, the locking mechanism will drag it back in place, and we will pop down into the driver's seat here. So the driver's seat is pretty simple. I have to note though that there are no engines really used in my tanks. I use all thruster power as well as thruster turning, and it gives the same effect as like tank steering would. As you can see, I can turn in place as if it was like tank steering, and I find it makes it a lot easier to build a tank this way, and I mean, you go pretty fast either way, and you can get over most things no problem as well, as you can see. So the one key though is the reverse key, because you can't wire thrusters to the S key yet, and W is forward of course, and A and D, it's the same as like my airplanes, let's say, that uses that steering mechanism. So it's really cool. It's a lot of fun to drive around. They're pretty fast as well, and they handle terrain very well as well. So I mean, overall this tank is probably my favorite. Because it's fast, it's nice and wide, it looks cool, and it's honestly, it's one of the best tanks I've ever made, I gotta say. One thing that I'm really happy about with all of my tanks is actually the fact that each tank has its own kind of unique style that distinguishes it from the other ones, and this one has the two wide tires here, as you can see, compared to the Leopard, which only has one. So this one just looks a lot beefier. It's a lot of fun to drive, actually, because it is so low. And you can see here, actually, I have like a light on the front. I used some reference pictures for all of these to try my best anyway and match them. So the turret in this one, I decided I didn't really wire it up to aim up and down, because the aesthetic was very difficult to get the mechanical side on top of it. But overall, the look of this tank is just absolutely fantastic, and it uses the same steering mechanism for the turret as well, which is W and S hooked up to an electric motor. So if we just line that up to the center though, we can go to the back here, and you can see this one actually does have a little bit of a door here. I haven't put a hatch on it or anything yet. Whoops. So we can hop in, and so here this gives you an idea of the thruster setup. So right here, this is the A and D converter, so you can activate thrusters. And so you can see there's thrusters mounted for forward thrust, the reverse thrust here, and then these are the turning mechanisms. So they're only in the back, so it basically swings the tail around on this one. So let's hop into the seat here and bring up the button mechanisms. So one, of course, is the reverse key, and W, A, and D will get you steering. And this one is awesome. I mean, I guess I really like the Leopard, but I like them all, honestly. I didn't realize what I had been missing out while making tanks, because I made the M1A1 Abrams a long time ago, and I kind of gave up on tanks, and probably because I was crashing the game so much on that build. I even tried using tank treads at one point, so you should check that out, actually, if you do want to see some working tank treads. I'll put a link in the description. But here, oh boy, close one. I'm gonna drag that with me. It's pretty lag-free, and that's what I do enjoy about these thruster setups. It really makes this lag-free experience for tank driving. And I mean, really, it does feel a little slippery because of thrusters, but as you can see, it's pretty maneuverable and it's very steady as well. And I mean, if you actually do get some speed going, you can kind of get some air. And now on to the last tank of the episode. This one is the Panzer T. I tried my best to get the scaling. It was an awkward kind of tank to make. But the overall design of this one did turn out pretty good, especially with the where the tires go here and the cover on top. I made it stick out just that little bit farther. Now this one is probably one of the better designed ones. I think it was the last one that I made, so every time I made a tank, I learned something new and I was like, oh, okay, so I should do it this way. But this one here actually has a button that you can press so you can actually get into the back here. And you can see this is probably the most organized tank of them all. The only problem, of course, is if I sit in that seat there, you can't see out those windows. And the reason why I did that was because you can get into the seat like so, and then press it again and actually get out. So other than those two tanks, this one actually allows you to kind of walk around in it. So if we do climb up to the top here and get into this turret, I'll just quickly show the view from up here, of course. So this one is A and D as well. And this one, I didn't put the elevator on the barrel, just because it's such a tiny little barrel. But overall, this tank is actually really cool. So let's hop into the seat here. This one has a couple buttons here. So one, of course, like the other ones, is your reverse key, and 3 will bring up the back there. And I'm trying to see what 2 does. Oh, that's right. 2, if you press 2, it actually activates these tires on the front. And so that way, if you ever get kind of stuck up in front of something, it'll actually help pull you up a little bit. So that's for like rocks and stuff. But usually I just keep that off and worry about just tank driving like a normal good old tank here. Right into trees. But as you can see, they're very maneuverable. I was able to get away from that tree very quickly and carry on. Now this tank is really cool though. It's really small, so you have to be a little more careful when driving it around. You don't want to crash it or flip it over, because I mean I have managed to flip these actually, and it's not fun because you can get stuck pretty easily. But they're a lot of fun. I'm really hoping for... Imagine a game where you could actually make like a barrel that is actually like a gun, and it had like destruction physics, and you could actually, you know, use this and shoot at somebody. I mean, that's the dream, isn't it? So I wanted to thank everybody for all of their suggestions for these tanks. There are many, many more suggestions. To name a few even, I got the Renault FT-17, the D1, the Panzer, the Type 90 Japanese tank, the E100. So you guys have given me tons of them. There's even more than that. I'm going to keep on making some tanks. They've been a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun to drive around. So I hope you guys get some enjoyment out of them as well. And if you do want to see more tanks, of course, hit that like button. It'll let me know that you do enjoy the tanks. Because I can definitely make more of those. But I definitely want to mention that I will probably be moving on to some more jets. I haven't made a jet in a long time in Scrap Mechanic, as well as a helicopter, so I think it's time to get airborne again with the suggested creations. I'm on Christmas vacation as well, so I do have a lot more time now, so be sure to kind of check back regularly for some more normalized episodes of Scrap Mechanic. So thanks so much for watching, everybody. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe for endless Scrap Mechanic, and I will be seeing you guys in the next one. Bye!